Are narcissists truly toxic or just struggling? Here are the signs you shouldn't miss. Have you ever found yourself caught up in a relationship with someone who seems to have it all together on the outside, but leaves you feeling drained, confused, or even emotionally beaten down? You might have been involved with a narcissist, a person who can appear charming and self-assured, yet seems to lack the ability to truly connect with others. But here's the question: are narcissists inherently toxic, or is it possible that they're simply struggling with their own deep-seated insecurities? The answer isn't always black and white, and the truth might surprise you. Understanding the subtle signs of narcissism can help you determine whether you're dealing with someone who's caught in a web of self-protection, or someone who is consciously manipulating and harming others. Stay tuned as we dive into the layers of narcissistic behavior, uncovering the signs you shouldn't miss and the steps you can take to protect your emotional well-being. Before we jump into this fascinating exploration, take a moment to hit the subscribe button, give us a like, and share this video with anyone who might benefit from this insightful discussion. We're here to help you navigate complex emotional dynamics and empower you with the knowledge you need to make informed decisions in your relationships. So, what truly drives narcissists? Are they simply toxic individuals driven by a desire to control others? Or are they people who have learned to protect themselves from their deepest fears by hiding behind a mask of arrogance? To understand what makes narcissists tick, we need to dive deeper into the root causes of their behavior. At its most fundamental level, narcissism is often rooted in self-preservation. While narcissists may appear confident, self-assured, or even invincible on the surface, the truth is that their apparent confidence is often nothing more than a well-crafted facade designed to mask deep-seated insecurities. In reality, narcissists struggle with an overwhelming sense of inadequacy that they desperately try to cover up. They may come across as arrogant, entitled, or even dismissive of others, but these behaviors are frequently a result of fragile self-worth rather than true confidence. The persona they present to the outside world is carefully constructed to protect them from their fear of being seen as unworthy or inadequate. This external bravado is a defense mechanism created to keep others at a distance and prevent them from seeing the vulnerability and self-doubt that lie beneath. Narcissists are constantly seeking validation from others. They need constant reassurance to feel valued and important, and without it, they can become agitated, manipulative, or even cruel. The desire for admiration and approval becomes a driving force in their lives, and when this need isn't met, their behavior can become destructive. The toxic behaviors they exhibit, whether it's manipulation, emotional control, or outright cruelty, are often a response to the absence of the validation they crave. Their sense of self-worth depends on how others perceive them. And when they feel overlooked or ignored, their reactions can be harsh and damaging. Here's where the complexity comes in. Many narcissists are not inherently malicious. It's not that they are actively trying to hurt others. Instead, their actions are often a reaction to a lifetime of emotional wounds and deeply ingrained patterns of behavior that they have learned over time. Narcissism doesn't develop in a vacuum. It's often a product of early life experiences, such as growing up in environments where emotional needs were neglected, or where the focus was placed on external appearance rather than genuine connection. These early experiences can leave narcissists emotionally stunted, meaning they never fully develop the skills necessary to form deep, empathetic relationships or to express their true selves. As a result, their emotional growth is arrested, and they are left with a hollow, superficial way of engaging with others. Because of this emotional disconnect, narcissists often struggle with intimacy, vulnerability, and empathy. They are not emotionally available in the way that healthy individuals are, and this can lead them to appear self-centered or even callous. However, it's important to recognize that their behavior is not always rooted in a deliberate intention to cause harm. Rather, their actions often stem from their inability to connect with their own emotions and with the emotions of others. The toxic dynamics that arise in relationships with narcissists are often a byproduct of this emotional disconnect, not a result of malicious intent. While narcissists may appear to be entirely self-serving, their behavior often masks an intense fear of rejection, failure, and being unimportant. They've learned over time to prioritize image and external validation over authenticity and vulnerability, which leaves them emotionally isolated and unfulfilled. This emotional isolation can make them seem self-absorbed, but it's important to understand that this is more of a defense mechanism than an inherent desire to harm. The mask they wear serves to protect them from the raw, painful emotions they aren't equipped to handle, and while this can certainly create toxic patterns in their relationships, it's not always an intentional effort to cause harm. Let's take a deeper look at the behaviors that commonly define narcissism. These behaviors include things like an ongoing need for self-promotion, a profound lack of empathy, and an insatiable desire for admiration and validation. Narcissists often present themselves in a way that demands constant attention and praise. However, it's crucial to understand that narcissists are not always fully aware of the harm their actions cause to others. For example, they might belittle others, disregard their feelings, or act in ways that are dismissive without even realizing the emotional toll it takes on those around them. This lack of awareness is often rooted in their inability to connect with their own emotions in a healthy, honest way, making it difficult for them to empathize with others or even recognize when their behavior is damaging. One of the most noticeable signs of narcissism is their constant, almost desperate need for validation. Narcissists rely heavily on the approval and admiration of others because they feel empty inside. Their entire sense of self-worth is dependent on the external praise they receive, and when they don't get the admiration they believe they are entitled to, their reaction can be dramatic. This lack of validation often triggers negative emotional responses such as anger, frustration, or passive-aggressive behavior. In these moments, the narcissist might attempt to shift blame onto others, project their insecurities onto those around them, or even try to manipulate situations to regain control and restore their fragile sense of importance. They see the world through the lens of their own need for external reinforcement, and when they aren't fed this validation, their behavior can quickly turn toxic. Another behavior commonly associated with narcissism is gaslighting, a particularly insidious form of psychological manipulation. Gaslighting involves making the other person doubt their own perceptions of reality. A narcissist might deny something they said or done, even when there's clear evidence to the contrary. This manipulation leaves the other person feeling confused, questioning their own judgment, and even doubting their own sanity at times. Gaslighting is particularly harmful because it erodes the victim's self-confidence and sense of self, making it increasingly difficult for them to trust their own thoughts or perceptions. Over time, this can cause significant emotional damage as the narcissist continues to distort the truth and keep the other person in a state of constant uncertainty. But is it possible that narcissists aren't necessarily bad people, but are instead simply struggling with deep emotional wounds? The truth lies in the distinction between narcissistic traits and narcissistic personality disorder, NPD. It's important to recognize that not everyone who exhibits narcissistic behaviors actually has NPD. Narcissistic behaviors can appear in people who might have underlying emotional issues or insecurities, but do not meet the full diagnostic criteria for NPD. People with NPD, on the other hand, exhibit a pervasive pattern of grandiosity, a constant need for admiration, and a lack of empathy. They often have an inflated sense of their own importance and tend to disregard the feelings and needs of others. However, people who show narcissistic traits may still struggle with emotional baggage they're trying to protect, but their behaviors may not be as extreme or as consistent as those seen in NPD. At this point, you might be wondering, if narcissists are struggling emotionally, should I feel sorry for them? The answer to this question is not simple, and it depends on the situation. While it is certainly important to have empathy for others, it's equally crucial to take care of your own emotional well-being. Even if a narcissist is dealing with their own emotional struggles, that does not excuse the harm they can cause in your life. Narcissistic behaviors, whether from someone with NPD or someone displaying narcissistic traits, can leave lasting emotional scars. These scars can affect your self-esteem, your sense of security, and your ability to trust others. It's essential to establish strong and clear boundaries with narcissists to prevent being caught up in their emotional chaos. Boundaries serve as a shield that protects your emotional health from being undermined. Empathy for narcissists doesn't mean allowing yourself to be mistreated or manipulated. It means recognizing that their behavior likely stems from a place of deep emotional pain or unmet needs. However, understanding the root of their actions doesn't mean you should put yourself at risk or allow their toxicity to infiltrate your life. Prioritizing your well-being should always come first. It's important to protect yourself from emotional manipulation and to recognize when it's time to walk away from relationships that are damaging. Being empathetic toward others should never come at the expense of your own emotional health. Recognizing the signs of narcissism early in a relationship can significantly improve your ability to manage interactions with narcissistic individuals. Being able to identify these behaviors allows you to adjust your expectations and set appropriate boundaries to protect your emotional well-being. Narcissism is often characterized by a variety of patterns that can be difficult to navigate, but understanding these common signs can give you the tools you need to deal with them more effectively. Let's dive deeper into some of the most recognizable traits that narcissists often display. One of the most prevalent signs of narcissism is an excessive focus on themselves. Narcissists tend to dominate conversations, making every topic somehow relate back to their own experiences, opinions, or needs. You might find that when you try to share something personal, they quickly shift the focus back to their own thoughts or achievements, as if nothing else matters. They often dismiss your feelings or experiences, making it difficult to engage in a balanced, two-way conversation. This constant need for attention can leave you feeling unheard and emotionally neglected, as their self-absorption takes precedence over any genuine interest in others. Another glaring sign is their complete lack of empathy. Narcissists struggle, if not completely fail, to understand or care about the emotions and needs of others. They are often indifferent to how their behavior affects those around them. In relationships, this lack of empathy can make interactions feel extremely one-sided. You might find yourself giving more than you receive, constantly trying to meet their needs, while your own are ignored or dismissed. This can lead to feelings of emotional exhaustion, as the narcissist rarely shows any understanding or concern for the impact of their actions on you. Relationships with narcissists often feel like a continuous emotional drain with little to no reciprocal care or attention. The need for validation is another hallmark of narcissistic behavior. Narcissists are incessantly in search of admiration and approval from others, as it is the primary way they maintain their sense of self-worth. They thrive on praise, compliments, and recognition, often going to extreme lengths to secure it. Whether through exaggerating their achievements, seeking constant affirmation, or strategically placing themselves in situations where they can receive attention, narcissists are driven by the need for validation. When they don't receive the recognition they believe they deserve, they may react with frustration, anger, or passive-aggressive behavior as their fragile sense of self feels threatened. This constant demand for external validation can create an environment where it's hard to meet their expectations and leaves you feeling like your own needs and accomplishments are overshadowed. Manipulation is another powerful tool in the narcissist's arsenal. Narcissists often use various tactics to control others and get their way. One common technique is guilt tripping, where they make you feel responsible for their feelings or situations that are entirely beyond your control. Another is gaslighting, where they distort reality and make you question your perceptions or memories. They may also play the victim, framing themselves as the one who has been wronged in every situation, regardless of the truth. These manipulative behaviors are designed to keep you off balance, making it easier for them to maintain control over the relationship and get what they want. By constantly shifting blame or distorting reality, narcissists make it difficult for you to stand firm in your own convictions, often leaving you feeling confused, guilty, or doubtful of yourself. Superficial charm is a tactic that many narcissists employ to draw people in. At first, they can appear incredibly charismatic, charming, and even magnetic. They often come across